Before we get into talking about hip hop, growing up, was your household very musical with like Motown influences and everything?
So again, my mother was young. Like my mother was young, so like it was musical, but it was more um late 70s disco. It was more Run DMC. My mother is the first person I saw who had the King of Rock Run DMC like on vinyl. My house was very Anita Baker. Like it was musical, but it was so diverse because of my mother's age. It was a lot of things that were growing with her. You know what I'm saying? That she was still into. So there wasn't one genre of music that was played. And luckily, that expanded my palette for other genres of music.
For sure, man. Can you talk a little bit about the Detroit music scene from that perspective, though? As far as like, I feel like a lot of times people forget that Detroit has such a rich musical history. Outside people from outside of Detroit seem to not recognize that as much. I feel like.
You know what? And I think it's the opposite. I think people who are inside of Detroit forget how rich of a history we have because we live it. Like we've seen it, like we take it for granted. Like there are people, I know people who lived here who are in my age range who have never been to the Motown Museum just because,
Wow.
yeah, just because we live it. So while other people come in from out of town and they're always so excited to go to these places just because we have it. Like we usually don't. Um, but the stamp that Detroit specifically has put on music, whether it's Motown, whether it's death metal, whether it's hard rock, like whether it's techno, like Detroit is a super musical city, and like a lot of people or a lot of places thrive off of what we create or created. So you can't really deny the imprint that we've made because it's still going strong, like in
hmm
all genres.
But from the outside perspective, do you feel like Detroit gets the props that it deserves as far as musically, though?
Yes, it does. Because you can't have a conversation about music in totality without mentioning Motown. Motown is the biggest Motown is the biggest force to come through music. Like it literally spawned so many babies. It literally spawned what's popular today. So like I definitely think we get our just due. Everybody may not know the names of the artists, but most people know the songs. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
Like so they could do more research, but they definitely don't leave us out of the conversation. That's not something that I've encountered.
Got you. Okay. Do you remember the exact moment that you fell in love with hip hop?
Oh man, I hate questions like that. Yes.
Why do you hate questions like that in
because
particular?
because but because it's so cliche. Like it's so cliche. Like because if you're living in the moment, you may not necessarily be uh taking note of it. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you're just living it. But I can remember the first thing that made a lasting impact on me as in the culture of hip hop. My cousin Chuck had a my cousin Chuck had a dubbed cassette of Boogie Down Productions' Criminal Minded, the whole album. And that was the first time that I remember hearing some things like so theatric, so big, so grand. And the song My 9mm Goes Bang is the first song that I ever memorized word for word. I was super young. You know what I'm saying? I was still single digits. But I remembered, like I memorized that song because I thought it was so fire. And ever since then, it's been off to the races. Like I've been trying to feed an insatiable appetite, trying to chase that dragon. You know what I'm saying? The first time I heard that.
So, how long after that moment do you start penning your own stuff?
I started writing rhymes when I was in fourth or fifth grade. When I was in fourth or fifth grade, me and my best friend at the time, who's still a good friend of mine, my man Bobby, we started a rap group in fourth grade called Partners in Crime. And we had this composition notebook that we would write rhymes in and pass back and forth. Uh, So
So
yeah, I
like at
started like
9 years old, 9, 10 years old, you're already on it.
for sure, 19 years old, I'm on it. I've always known, I've always known what my gift and purpose was. I may not have known how to get there, but I always felt that I knew what I was supposed to be doing.
Wow. So that young, you're already saying that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, pretty much.
I would be lying if I told you that I knew at 9, 10 that this was going to be my life. But I knew at 9, 10 that there was nothing else that I enjoyed as much as that.
Got you. Okay. And did you always go by Marv Won, or did you have a different rap name?
Oh, no, I had terrible rap names, which I will never ever reveal. But yeah, I had. But everybody had that phase. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had that phase until they found who they were. And the funny thing about my name, my stage name, which is why I'm a big stickler on when people misspell it. I started making my bones in the scene like right after high school. So like I started doing battles and things like that. And I was being mentored by two people. One was my man Hex Murr, and one was my man Big Cobb. And I was literally just going around and battling places, signing up as Marv. Like I didn't have a stage name. And one day my man Cobb called me and said, "Yo, I got your name." I said, "Okay." He said, every time I call someone and ask them who won the battle, the answer is always Marv Won. Like Marv Won. So that's my name. Like my name is MARV space WON period. Like it's a statement. Like Marv Won. It's not ONE. It's not the number one. I've seen some people say JUAN, like I'm Spanish or some shit like that. Like respectfully, like I'm not Spanish. You know what I'm saying? But so it definitely means a lot because one, he's no longer with us on this plane. You know what I'm saying? So always to honor him. Like I take that very, very seriously. But that's how I got my name. But I had some shitty ones before it, for sure.
For sure, man. But why do people like put it together instead of putting a space in between it? Sometimes I see it like that too.
You know why? I think a lot of people thought that I was trying to mimic or copy paste one from the Outsiders, which super, super dope group, super like Pace is my man too, super cool guy. But I just think it's easier for people to think that I was trying to emulate him, so they just spell it the same way that he does.
Got you. And when did you start making beats? Was that like shortly after you started rapping?
So I started making beats maybe in my 20s, my late teens, 20s. Shouts to my man Dale, who has been like my biggest influence musically, like someone who I could tangibly touch. He was always my producer when I was younger. I was always his right hand and he always made beats. So I just kind of wanted to learn how to do it. So he just left me to it. Like let me use his equipment and stuff. And I wasn't always the best. And I didn't take it seriously until much, much, much later in my career. Because I hadn't mastered how to rap yet. So I didn't want to take on too much. But I always know physically how to make beats. But I wasn't confident in them. And I just didn't take it seriously until I had to. Until I felt like I couldn't get beats from my famous, more busy producer friends. So that's when I started taking beats very seriously around 2012, maybe 2012,
Oh, wow.
2013, maybe.
Would you say that it was more natural for you to be rapping and writing and stuff like that than making beats? Like it came easier for you?
Probably. And I was more secure in my ability as a rapper than I was in my ability as a producer. Like I know I can rap. Like I've put in my 10,000 hours as a rapper.
Right.
Like I can do this shit with my eyes closed. Like it takes me 7 minutes to write a 16 bar verse. Like if that, Like I'm like I can see words. It's kind of like a beautiful mind. Remember, he would see the numbers and stuff on them.
Right, right.
Like I see words and letters the same way. I see words and colors. Like I know moods, I know hues, I know everything. So that part is easy. It was it
Wait, do
was
you
the
see it
idea.
like synesthesia? Because like I interviewed Copy and he described it kind of.
Yeah, yeah. I literally like I hear music and I see words. Like I hear music and I see words. Like if someone sends me a beat, I know exactly what's supposed to be on this beat
But do you like
because I
see
see it.
colors? You see colors too with it?
I see
Oh,
colors
oh
because
wow.
yeah, because I definitely think sounds create moods. So there are like if something is mellow, I see blues, I see greens. If something is super hype, I see reds. If something is if something is emotional, I see yellows and oranges. I legitimately see like I do see color. You know what I'm saying? When I see these words because it creates the mood. But I was much more confident as a writer than I was as a producer.
That's
Again,
amazing.
until I had to be. You know what I'm saying? And then by that time, I had been associated with so many good producers here in the city. The Mr. Porters, the Black Milks, the J Dillas, the Silent Riots, like everybody who was somebody in my world, like I worked with. So there was no need for me to try to put myself out there as a producer. Um, but then either when they got super busy or, you know, maybe the luster faded and, you know, those calls stopped being immediately returned, I had to, you know, fend for myself. So, like, so to speak. But then that put me in a space too, because then once those same people heard my beats, it was like, oh, well, you don't need no beats no more. Like, you don't need no beats from me. So it became like a double-edged sword. It was like, it was kind of like Marv, like, you don't need me to do beats for you. Like, just go do your stuff. And that's how I ended up doing Soundtrack of Autumn. That was the first project that I produced by myself.
How influential was the music that you heard in your household, the many different genres, on you later as a producer?
Super, super, because I didn't feel boxed in. Like I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I had to stay stay grounded in one sound. I didn't have to do typical what is now deemed as boom bap, or I wasn't afraid to pick up a polka record, or I wasn't afraid to try melodies or whatever, because like I know how strong of an entity music is, because I heard it all in my space. It's kind of like how Dilla produced. You know what I'm saying? Like being able to take the smallest thing and turn it into something huge, or take a sound that most people would shy away from and turn it into something enjoyable for your listener. Like that's become more fulfilling than writing the rhyme for me at this point. Like producing has become more fulfilling. Like I have more fun producing than I do writing, for sure.
Wow. I'm sure the drum patterns too, uh,
Definitely.
very different, right?
Definitely. But like I'm saying, like I was 15, 16 when Fantastic Volume 1 dropped. And I just remember when Slum Village Fantastic Volume 1 dropped, and I remember being blown away. Like that somebody from where I'm from could sound like this. And it was just totally different. Like it wasn't the same super, like I feel like a lot of early hip hop all had that same TR-808 sound. It had that same
Right.
super electronic ass sound. And this one felt lush. Like Dilla sounded like a band. He sounded like a conductor. Like it was super lush sounds over the biggest, dirtiest drums. And I hadn't heard anything like that. Like I felt like Tribe and De La were the closest things that I had heard to that, but it wasn't that. So and just his drums alone, that was enough for me. So yeah, the drums always played a big part, especially being from here. I feel like I'm from the space where the best drum programmer is from.
For sure, man.